Hey folks, back here again. Very quick video for you today. A friend of mine has their oldest kid going off to university this year, and one of the problems they've run into is this issue with password sharing on Netflix. Effectively, what happens is Netflix double checks now and again to make sure that you're generally using Netflix from the same IP address, from the home IP, and if you're not, it tells you that password sharing is not allowed. Now, there is a simple way and a free way to sidestep this issue. Now, that's what I want to talk about today. Now, I don't want to talk about the ethics or the legality of this, but really I'm interested in the technical product. So let me show you what this actually achieves and how it sidesteps that particular issue. So we've got two PCs here. We've got my home PC, which is just a Windows 11 machine, and we've got one that pretends to be a remote PC. So let's have a look at our home one. There's our IP address. It is 193.160.247.44, and it thinks it's in London. Now, of course, that's not my home IP address, so don't worry about that. Now, if we look at our remote PC, in fact, I'm not sure where this one is. Yeah, there you go. This one thinks it's in the Netherlands, and their IP is 91.214.67.38. Now, eventually, Netflix and other products will work out that you're away from home and you might be sharing passwords. Now, there's a very simple way to have this PC, the remote PC, browsing and accessing the internet from your home PC. It's a free service, very simple to set up. You don't need to do any firewall modifications or anything like that. And it is also a very capable product. It can do full site-to-site VPNs for you if you want, but that's probably a little bit beyond the complexity of what I'm going to talk about here. So let me show you how simple this is. What I'm going to do is pop into the toolbar here. I'm going to select the application, which is known as TailScale, and I'm going to select my exit node. Now I've got a couple set up here, but the one I want is Home PC. I'm going to select that one. I'm going to give it a moment to sort itself out. And then what we can do is we can have a look at our IP address. There we go. Now bear in mind, we are now on the remote PC. Look at the IP address, 193.160.247.44. That is now the same as our home PC. So we're now, in effect, browsing using the internet connection at home. Now, there is a performance impact of this, of course, because you are brokering through this TailScale service. It's not direct from the remote PC to this one, but it will sidestep that issue with Netflix, and it'll also allow browsing through home. You can also, if you're interested in, by the way, you can also enforce it so clients have to browse through that exit node. So if you want to make sure that you're going through certain internet hygiene connections that you run at home or in a system, TailScale can do all of that good stuff for you. So let's double check that it returns to normal when we turn off TailScale. So I'm just going to pop in here. I'm going to turn off my exit node and say none. Going to give it a moment. There we go. And we're back to our local IP. Now with Netflix and stuff, you don't need to remain connected for particularly long. You just need to start watching the show and then later you can disconnect. So let me take you through how to get this configured because honestly, it's very, very simple and it's free and it will get rid of this problem for you. But like I say, it gives you gateway to a very powerful product, which is this TailScale application. So let's jump into some fresh machines and I'll show you how to get this started from scratch. Okay, so here we are back with our home PC and our remote PC. Now, nothing is set up on these at the minute, so if we have a look at their IP addresses, you'll see that this one, the home PC, is on a 193 address, and if we look at the remote PC, that's on a 91 address. So let's get this product set up. It's really easy to do. And like I said, there's a lot of complexity behind this product if you want to go that way. But just for what we're going to cover today, I'll get you started. So where we want to go to tailscale.com. There we go. And what we're going to do is click on Get Started up here on the right-hand side. Now we need to be able to sign up with the service. So there's various ways of doing it. You can sign up with all these different accounts. I'm going to sign up with Google. So let me click that. Now I need to enter a Gmail address. So I have a burner account I'm going to use just for this demo. So I'm going to enter that. Let's pop the password in. You can email that account as much as you like. I'm never going to look at it again. Okay, so there it is. We're going to sign into TailScale. We're going to say continue. There we go. I'm going to click, this is for personal use because it's just for my demo. Click next. And we're going to add our first device. Now this is a Windows machine. So I want obviously the Windows client. But now what you'll see here is there's lots of different client versions. Linux, Windows, Mac OS, iPhone and iPad, Android, and there's even one for your Synology. Now, if you're going to be doing this and you are a bit of a techie, personally, I use the Linux one for my home one because I find it a lot faster and also a little bit more reliable. Obviously, I can set up a tiny VM somewhere or Docker. I think I've done with mine, and just leave it running. So I'm going to download the Windows one just for the purposes of this demo. So we're going to download TailScale for Windows. We want that one, Windows. There we go. Let's open that file and we will get this installed. So I'm going to agree to the licensing, install. Installation successful. That's what we like to see. Now you see down in the bottom, we get a little prompt saying TailScale authentication needed. Click the TailScale icon to log in. So what I'm going to do is pop down here, click on there, and we're going to say we're going to connect our device to our demo account, which is our burner Gmail account. So we're going to click next, login successful. As you can see in our icon tray there, we've got our TailScale. We are connected. We're connected to our burner account. You can see that we've got the option to set some preferences. Okay, so you might want to have a look at some of the settings in here if you want. Okay, so we've got TailScale installed. You'll now see it in your taskbar down here. Okay, what we're going to do, if you look at the exit node option there, the first thing we are going to do is select run exit node. There are a couple of other things we need to do first before this will work, but that's the very first thing that you need to do. So make sure you select that and make sure you read the blurb here. Okay, so we're just going to say yes. Now down here, you'll also see some other options like, allow local network access. Well, that's where your site-to-site VPNs and stuff like that come in, but I'm not going to cover that for now. I'm just going to go with the exit node. So make sure that's selected. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go and log into the TailScale website. I'm going to do it from a private window. We'll get logged in here. So I'm going to sign in with Google. Let's get signed in. There we go. Now you can see we've got our home PC, which is the one that we've just configured. It's configured as an exit node, but there's a couple of things we need to check before this will work. Okay, now all of your machines that you register in here will appear in here. But basically what we want to do is just make sure that the exit node is configured. That's what I was looking for. You see that option there, user exit node? It's a little bit confusing because if you look in the taskbar, we've configured the client to allow exit node there. But if we don't enable it here, it won't work. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. It's edit root settings of whatever the PC is that you've configured. So we're now going to make sure that's selected as users exit node, and I'm going to save. There we go. Now that's all we need to do to this machine. So what we need to do now is just leave this client running. What you might want to do is under the preferences, make sure run unattended is configured, because that way whenever the PC is running, this client will run. Okay, there you go. TailScale keeps running as your identity when you log out of Windows. That's kind of handy. So I'm going to say yes to that. Let's get this closed down. Now, if we look at our IP address, it's the 193 address. Now, what I'm going to do now is jump across to our remote PC, which is this one here. Now, notice the address, 91.214 something or other. So we're going to go through the same process. I'm going to go to tailscale.com. We are going to log in. We're going to sign in with Google. There we go. Now you can see our machines are here. Now what we're going to do is add a device. We're going to say a client. We're going to say Windows. We can copy the installation link, and what we can do now is just download that client. There we go. Download TailScale for Windows. Obviously there's loads of ways of getting this client. You could have just used the one that we downloaded on the other machine if it's local, but So what we're going to do is get the client installed. Only takes a moment. There we go. Now you'll see that we get the same message down here saying TailScale authentication needed. So we're going to click that and we're going to authenticate. Now we're already logged in here, so it should just say, yeah, there we go. We're going to connect to this machine and we're going to visit the console. There we go. We can now see that we've got our remote PC and we are connected. Now this is where the magic happens. So if you can see our IP address there, let me just refresh it. You see there we've got our IP of 91.214. If we pop down to the TailScale icon here, we've now got the choice of selecting our exit node. See there that we've got an exit node as home PC? So I'm going to select that one now. Now notice the icon changes. We've got the connected option. You can see the arrows there. I'm just going to kill my web browser because sometimes it takes a moment to sort itself out. There we go. Now look at the IP address, 193.160.246.171. Now that is on our remote PC. Okay. If we jump across to our home one, you'll see that that's exactly the same IP address. How cool is that? Now, bear in mind, it does have some impact on performance. So if we do a speed test, for example, there we go. Now, if I turn off TailScale and do the same test, you'll see that it should be a lot faster. Now, just bear in mind that my system is a bit convoluted here. Not only are we going through TailScale, I'm also going through a VPN, so you can't see my particular IP addressing in any of the demos, but it is more than enough to get around things like the password restrictions of certain services, that sort of stuff. There you go. So you can see it does have some impact on performance, but like I say, it's not as big as I'm perhaps showing here because my system's a bit convoluted just so I can demo it here. But the whole point is I think you can see that this is very, very simple to set up. It does sidestep that issue with the passwords and also allows other things like being able to browse from your home internet connection from wherever you are. And I find that really useful for several reasons. Anyway, it's a great product. I hope you found it useful. Any questions, of course, drop me a line. Like I say, there's a lot of complexity behind this product as well around VPNs and all around all kinds of capabilities, but this is the way to get started anyway.